Joe Rahon has been a nice story for the St. Mary's Gales. After transferring from Boston College, he sat out last season and has become an immediate contributor for the 14-1 St. Mary's Gales. But this wasn't his first opportunity to play in Moraga. Here's Ezra Broder with the story of a player taking advantage of a second opportunity.
He didn't take the most direct route there, but Joe Rahon ended up in Moraga after all.
It was a lot easier recruiting him the second time than the first time.
The California native almost came to St. Mary's as a freshman, but ultimately chose to play basketball at Boston College.
Academics was a big part of it too, which was why I kind of came down to St. Mary's and Boston College, being two great academic institutions. And the lure of the ACC and kind of getting away from home almost probably played a little secret factor in it.
We recruited Joe out of high school. We recruited him hard. He's the kid, he is the guy at that position that we wanted to sign.
And for good reason. Rahon averaged almost 10 points per game and led the Eagles in assists in each of his 2 seasons there. But after BC made a coaching change, he knew it was time for a change himself.
In the back of my mind, I always hoped when I was thinking, should I transfer, should I not transfer? I was thinking, man, I would really like to go play for Coach Brent at St. Mary's if I'm lucky enough to get a call from him.
There wasn't a lot of recruiting involved the second time. It was, hey, is this what you want to do? And if so, then it can happen.
And it did happen. Rahon sat out last season because of NCAA rules, and though he didn't see any game action, he made an immediate impact.
He was kind of leader of the team last year as a redshirt, and that's hard to do because you're not in there in the games, and you can't compete with them in the games. But he brought it in practice like he was playing.
I usually played against him in practice last year, and I mean he's a great competitor. I much prefer having him on my team than playing against him.
Rahon's presence can be felt outside of the walls of McEwen Pavilion as well.
Well, he is a bit of a nerd, yeah. He hits the books hard, but I mean it's pretty impressive, yeah, the way he can balance his studies and his basketball.
I take a lot of pride in it, and I like it. I enjoy getting work done and going to the library and studying and that kind of thing. It's fun for me. It's kind of like a challenge, and I like it.
The economics major is a 2-time All-ACC academic team honoree and made the WCC Commissioner's Honor Roll last season.
I've always just been a very competitive kid, and I just never wanted to get a B. I never growing up, it's just like, oh, I want to get an A. I want to be in the top of the class. It's just kind of how I was wired. Academically and on the court, it didn't really matter.
He can handle his academics and training for basketball and be the leader of the program. It helps when you're a good student on that. And you can juggle all those balls, and we knew that with him.
It's paying off for the Gales on the floor. They lead the country in field goal percentage, and Rahon ranks in the top 10 in assists per game and assist to turnover ratio.
Having a guy like Joe who's a great passer, it just makes my life a lot easier. Sort of get open shots and it makes the team's life a lot easier.
The thing that attracted us the most about Joe was his leadership. He's a born leader. He's a great leader.
It's a really tight community here in Moraga, and the basketball team is kind of a central part of that, and it's really awesome to be a part of.
For the WCC this week, I'm Ezra Broder.